interested in the technology Ra mentioned in the raw material, known as the Prana Vacuum. How can we create a Prana Vacuum using today's technology?
The so-called Prana vacuum is the same thing as the idea of what you might call the quantum vacuum, is the same thing as the zero-point energy concept that many people are talking about on your planet. It exists all around you. The technology exists that you can use to tap into it in certain ways. Many of the kinds of things that people have invented that say it's tapping into the zero-point energy are not exactly doing so. But the idea is growing in the consciousness, the collective consciousness of your planet, until such time as that awareness evolves into technology that will truly tap into that prana field, the quantum field, the void, and whatever else you may wish to call it. It will allow you unlimited energy, unlimited flow, an inexhaustible supply of energy that can be utilized in a variety of ways once you truly tap into that technology. It has to do with creating devices of proper resonance, proper frequencies, capacitors that vibrate at certain resonant frequencies that deliver and transform energy in a certain way, step it down in a way that you can use with your technology. We have talked a little bit about this as a space-time antenna concept. 3 nested spheres separated by phi ratio diameters, penetrated by antennae that are insulated from a Merkaba, a double interpenetrated tetrahedron in the center of the 3 spheres that resonates at certain frequencies and can be activated by the introduction of energy into it, and it will output energy of a higher caliber, a higher level, and a higher frequency, tapping into the quantum field in certain ways. But many people on your planet, a few of them, are beginning to experiment with this, and we cannot deliver more information about this device until they have already achieved what it is we have already delivered. End of discussion.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day.
Thank you for having this conversation with each other in this way.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so. What would you like to discuss?
Talking about the hybrid children, you've mentioned in the past that contact between hybrid children and their mothers will expand over time.
Yes.
Has this process indeed started on this timeline? Is
Yes.
there an increase of physical contact between human beings and the hybrid children?
Yes, but in an altered reality, not necessarily physically on your planet so much, but in a slightly altered version of physical reality, and in dream time, these encounters have increased.
Okay, wonderful.
Eventually, it will leak into the physical reality as you understand it, although it will still be of a higher vibration than it is now.
Yes, understand. Yeah. And I also wanted to talk to you about suppressed memories.
Yes.
During our previous conversation, you've mentioned that I was visited by the Grace when I also was a child.
Yes.
And that these experiences are buried deep within my consciousness.
Well, not that deep.
Oh, not that deep. You also mentioned that I felt victimized because my childlike state was not able to comprehend what was going on during these visitations.
Yes.
Okay. And is it correct to say that from the point of view as a human being child, that these visitations and the removal of genetic material was somehow experienced as a trauma on a psychological level?
Yes, but only because of the way you were raised as a human, not because it's innate to the being a child, not because it's innate to being a human child, just because of the way your planet views these kinds of things, and because it is short-sighted in its compartmentalization of awareness. That's the only reason you experienced it traumatically.
And is that also the reason that we're still somehow afraid of extraterrestrials?
Because you are afraid of portions of your own power. And the extraterrestrials you're encountering represent and reflect the idea of your true power in certain ways.
I understand. And that's probably not a coincidence, but that leads up to my next question. Both my parents have transitioned almost within 3 years of each other. And the last parent, my father, passed 1 year ago.
Yes.
and their physical absence caused a shift in my life.
Yes, of
I
course.
experienced,
That's the purpose of it.
yeah, I experienced this as a tremendous opportunity to shed a whole bunch of negative belief systems that I have bestowed upon myself through their upbringing.
Well, congratulations. That is a
Thank
positive way to use it.
you. But I also sense that this tremendous opportunity is sometimes a bit frightening,
Why?
as if this whole new space that has opened up is sometimes too big to handle.
Impossible. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience it. You only grow into the space you're ready for. So no matter how it looks, you're making a comparison, still using some of the outdated beliefs to view it, instead of letting go of those outdated beliefs and understanding you cannot experience more than you're ready for anyway. You can expand into it. That's why it looks that big, because that's how big you actually are when you let go of the limiting beliefs.
I understand what you're saying.
All
I
right.
understand what you're saying. And I also am aware of the physical impact of this awareness.
Yes.
For instance, when my body is sleeping,
Yes.
it seems to respond to this awareness with an actual physical shock during the night that
Yes.
eventually wakes me up.
Yes, it can, because again, your body's not used to that vibration or frequency of energy, but it can get used to it over time.
And how can we do that? Can you say something about how to integrate this new space and the awareness of new space and the physical response to this? Is it just going with the flow, letting it happen?
That's one way, practice in a sense, having it happen over and over again, you'll get used to it. That's one way. But one way to accelerate that is to understand or have a perspective where physical reality isn't really separate from spirit reality. It's really not so different. It's just that you've defined it as very different. You've placed certain definitions on physical reality that makes it seem so unlike spirit reality, when in fact it's a natural extension of it.
Okay, and the physical body that reacts, how can we smoothen that out?
Well, this is what I'm telling you. Stop making such a separation in your belief system between the idea of your physical body and your spirit. Your physical body is your spirit in physical terms. It's the same kind of idea, if you wish, a crude analogy of saying ice is still water. It's just frozen. But it's the same thing. It's the same substance, essentially. And so is steam. So if you start looking at your body as if it's simply, euphemistically, a frozen version of your spirit, or at least a portion of your spirit, you can start to allow the physical reality to sort of melt a little bit more, allow it to become a little bit more fluid, a little bit more liquid, and not be so different from the liquid version or the steam version. So you have to start really looking at physical reality as if it's just another state of being of spirit and not really separate. It's the idea of separation that's tripping you up.
Yeah, I understand. And you also said something about that the human beings on Earth will become more and more human over time.
Yes, you're actually not fully human yet.
Yeah, and I was wondering what you meant by that. What does it mean to be human as opposed to not being fully human?
Being fully human means that you understand that everything is made of unconditional love. You understand that everything is connected, everything is a reflection of everything else, and you act accordingly.
Yes.
Being fully human is what you ascribe to beings like Christ, Buddha, Krishna, so on and so forth. It's the idea of the behavior that reflects the godhood within you.
Yes. Yeah. And that probably also means that we're not so compartmentalized in our way of thinking then.
Exactly. You think more holistically, more as a whole system. That's why I said you understand everything is one thing. I am you from another point of view. Literally, I am you from another point of view. You are us from another point of view. A fully realized human lives in that truth.
Yeah. Thank
Right?
you so much, Bashar.
You are so welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
Greetings, Bashar. I have a question for you. What is the template level of our space-time reality? You've mentioned that there is a template level and that we are each exploring themes from this template level, that there is a specific template for our lives. I'm wondering if this template is actually revealed in the deck of what we consider 52 playing cards, and if this template level of reality is expressed and symbolized in the deck of 52 playing cards. Where exactly did these cards come from? Who created them and when? And what is the best way for us to utilize these cards now in our lives in order to explore the theme of our lives, play our cards right, and give ourselves permission to be our best self? Thanks, Bashar.
All 52 are symbolic of the template level because it can be mixed and matched in any number of ways. It's not any one card, it's all of them that represents and symbolizes the template level, which is created by the choices you make in spirit to have a physical experience. So, as above, so below. You use the energy of the consciousness field to arrange certain kinds of blueprints that will manifest physiologically as the theme you will explore in physical reality. And the idea of any kind of permission slip, like a normal deck of cards or tarot cards or any kind of divination system, represents to some degree the idea of the template level. Now, you have some freedom in that with your free will as to how you experience the template you laid out for yourself, and sometimes some things can be altered or shifted. But in general, the choices made by you as a spirit will be played out as the cards you are dealt. But you can shift them around a little bit here and there with your free will, but you will play that game. That's what you decided as a spirit. So that's how the cards represent the idea of the template level in energy that then becomes crystallized down in frequency, down into what you experience as the physical card game that you are playing. Playing the right cards, as you say, is easy when you simply follow the formula. That's the secret to playing your best hand.
Hey, how are you, Bashar?
Perfect, and you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's see. My questions are feelings or thoughts the higher priority for manifesting our reality? Because it seems like unresolved feelings manifest over our thoughts. So how are they linked? And
This is how it works. First, you begin with beliefs and definitions. What you believe to be true is reinforced by the idea of feeling that it is true, thinking that it is true, and behaving as if it is true. Belief systems use feelings, emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to reinforce the validity and the reality of the belief system because physical reality isn't really real. Therefore, beliefs have to make you believe that it is real, and they do so by reinforcing what you believe to be true with the idea that it feels true, you think it's true, and you behave as if it's true. That's the priority, that's the order in which it happens. You cannot have a behavior, you cannot have a thought, and you cannot have an emotion without first believing or defining that something is true for you. Beliefs are the blueprint that allow you to build the house of your physical reality. So it all starts with that. So when you behave a certain way, when you think certain thoughts, when you feel certain emotions, they all go back to what must I believe to be true about myself in order to feel, think, and behave this way. Does that help you?
Yeah, so if I want to change a belief system, the action or how I behave would be the best way to start, and then the feelings and thoughts
You
would
can
follow.
start from any direction you wish, but in a sense, the most efficient way to change a belief system is to figure out what that belief is telling you, figure out why you're buying into it, because it may simply be a habit that you have because you've been taught to believe this way. It may be that you're getting something out of believing that way because you don't hold on to any belief you don't think serves you. So even if it doesn't seem to serve you, you may have a belief that says that the alternative would be worse than holding on to the beliefs you have, even if they're not comfortable. Because you all want to believe that everything needs to serve you, which is true. It can. But sometimes you have beliefs and you hold on to them even if you know they're not the best beliefs to hold on to, because you have a belief that the alternative would be worse. And therefore you'll still hold on to whatever it is you're holding on to until you change, until you understand that the idea that something worse will happen if you behave more like your true self is a fallacy. So you have to examine why the belief is there to begin with, allow yourself to understand why you're buying into it, and be honest in your self-investigation of what you believe will happen if you actually go in a direction you say you would prefer to. Once you understand that a negative and fear-based belief is simply telling you a story that isn't necessarily true, then you can see that it is nonsensical and illogical. And as soon as it is nonsensical, you will drop it because you don't hold on to things that don't make sense. If you do hold on to things that don't make sense, it's because you have a belief that says it makes more sense than the alternative.
Mm.
This is what we call the motivational mechanism in your psychology as humans. You always, without fail, move in the direction of what you believe serves you. You always, without fail, move away from what you believe does not serve you. So if you see yourself choosing things that you know intellectually don't serve you, it can only mean you've defined it and attached a belief to it that says it's better than the alternative. It serves you better than the alternative. Find out why you believe that, and when you expose the belief and the story it's telling you, you will see that it makes no sense, and it will be dropped. It will be gone.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Let's see. The next question is from the soul's perspective. Is the physical body like a radio-controlled car where you the soul puts input to make it go left and right, and then there's always input, also input from the environment. So it's like
to some degree, you can use whatever analogy you wish, but the idea really is that the physical world and the physical body is a projection of the soul's consciousness. It's like putting on a diving suit. More than the idea of a remote control car, it's like putting on a diving suit or a diving mask and going diving under the ocean. The mask helps you see underneath the ocean clearly. It's not designed to tell you what to do. It's designed to tell you what you're experiencing more clearly. When you leave the physical reality, it's like taking off the diving mask and going back to the surface. So even though you have free will as a physical being, the soul determines what the general trajectory is from its own free will. And that may be what the physical mind thinks of as destiny. In other words, you are the person you are. You will do everything as the person you are. You cannot actually fundamentally change the person that you are, although the personality can shift to a great degree, but it's still happening to you as you think of yourself as a separate autonomous being. So you have the free will to experience the destiny of the soul in any way, shape, or form that the physical mind chooses to, positive, negative, happy, sad, whatever, fast, slow, up, down. But you will walk that path because it was determined by your free will as a soul. Is this helping?
Yeah, the diving suit was a much better metaphor than the radio-controlled car.
All right.
Thank you. Two more questions really fast.
Yes.
When a soul wants to have an experience here on Earth, and many souls wants to have an experience here on Earth, who gets priority?
There is no need for priority because there are a multitude of infinite parallel realities that can have a similar experience.
Aha. Okay, and then the last question. On your planet, do you fart and do you laugh at your own farts like humans do?
We laugh, but we don't eat, so we don't fart.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was all. Thank
Oh,
you very
all
much.
right. Thank you, Aveo.
Aveo.
Good day, Bashar. I would like to know about the Bosnian pyramids, the ones located in Visoko, and like who built them and for what purpose, and yeah, anything you can tell me about the pyramids in Visoko in Bosnia. Thank you.
Pyramids around your planet at a certain time were all built relatively close to one another in time, around your 10,500 years ago. The idea is that they were energy collectors to balance the Earth that had gone through a catastrophic change when it was impacted by a cometary body that caused the annihilation of your Atlantean civilization. And therefore knowledge and energy was preserved in many pyramids around the planet. And also they were used as an energy balancing system to bring the planet back into alignment so it could recuperate and heal. There are other things that they were used for, but we will not go into that right now.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for talking to me.
It is our passion and our pleasure. What would you like to discuss?
So I've been following my excitement more and more since I kind of started to listen to you speak, and
right.
it feels really great. And I've been doing some like bigger and some smaller changes, and I'm following your advice of this thing of basically following my excitement more moment to moment, because there's no like one big thing in that sense.
All right, now do remember the entire formula, not just follow your excitement. There's other pieces to it, yes?
Yes, I know.
All right.
And I think what I'm like, one thing that just as an example that I quit one job that I felt like I was not excited about at all.
All right.
And now I have more free time, which is fun.
Yes.
And then sometimes I get kind of frustrated with myself because I feel like I sit there and I know that I have all these options to act on, but I kind of don't know what to do. And I wonder
yes,
if
you
there's
do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The idea, again, isn't that complicated. Don't overcomplicate it. If you have different options, decide for yourself which one is not only more attractive, more exciting than any other option, but which one can you act on? Which one can you do something about? If it seems that more than one is equal, you might as well flip a coin. Remember, synchronicity comes to bear in this, because if you flip a coin and say, all right, heads option A, tails option B, and you flip the coin, one of two things might happen. Let's say it lands on tails, option B, and you find yourself going, oh goody. Or you find yourself going, oh, I wish it had been option A instead. Oh, I wish it had been option A. Then you will know that that was the one that was more exciting. Or if you do head down a path that isn't necessarily the most exciting path for you at that moment, synchronicity will create certain circumstances that will turn you around in the correct direction. That's how it works. It's an automatic mechanism. So you don't have to sit there and wonder and be frustrated. Just act on whatever you are capable of acting on that contains more excitement than anything else, as far as you can determine, and let synchronicity guide you with the red light, green light aspect of its being, of its nature, which means it will bring you opportunities you can act on and take further, green light synchronicity. It will prevent you from acting on certain things that are not the correct path for you right now, red light synchronicity, just like you follow your traffic lights when you drive. You understand?
Mm.
So the starting and stopping is the way synchronicity guides you. No, not right now. Don't act in that direction. act in this direction, whatever you can act on. And you have to use your imagination, be very creative about the idea of what it means to take action on something in every way that you possibly can that has to do with that thing you say excites you. Even if you have to simulate the reality, that's taking an action on it.
Mm.
Let me give you an example that many people on your planet have used. There are many people who you call celebrities that are famous. But you will hear stories from many of them that before they were actually able to literally do what it is that they now do, that they're famous for, they acted it out. They simulated it. Even sometimes going so far for someone who might be a public speaker in an auditorium or a game show host or a late night interviewer as to go into a space, set it up like it's really happening, even to the level of putting fake people in the audience, maybe even just cardboard cutouts, and doing their routine as if it's really happening. Because then you're training your body to get used to the vibration of the reality of that, and that will make you attract it more strongly by doing anything you can to simulate anything you can to take an action in the direction of what excites you more than any other choice. And when we talk about that, it can also be very simple things. We don't mean when we say follow your passion, follow your excitement, that it has to be a grand project or come with trumpets or be a life-spanning career. Ta-da, here's your passion. No. Every day you have little options, simple options. I can take a walk. I can read a book. I can have lunch with a friend. I can watch a movie. Just choose the one that has more attractiveness, more curiosity, more excitement, even just the tiniest bit more that you're able to act on than any other one, and just do that first. You're still following your excitement by doing it on that level, and eventually it will usually snowball through synchronicity to bring you more and more opportunities to act on your passion in bigger and bigger and bigger ways. But the point is, it doesn't really matter if it does or not, because you're still following your excitement just by making sure that every day the options you choose are more exciting than any other option, and taking action on the ones that you can. That's all there is to it. You don't have to make it a big mystery or overcomplicate it or overthink it. That's why you're frustrated.
So you're saying I'm frustrated because I am making it way more complicated.
Yes.
Because I feel like sometimes it's literally that I have like an afternoon off and I'm sitting at home and I don't know, like
Then you're not using your creative imagination. Sitting at home. Why are you speaking with us today? Was this more exciting than any other option?
Yes.
Well, you see, that wasn't hard. So what will you do after this conversation is over? What are your options after this conversation is over? What are your options? Name some.
Probably go to sleep because it's quite late here.
All right. Going to sleep can be exciting. That's fine. But let's say it's morning. What would be some of your options?
Usually like go for a walk, go to workout.
Do you enjoy those things? Are they expressions of your passion?
Yes, they are.
Are you sure? Because you kind of hesitated.
No, I'm sure.
All right. Because remember, sometimes you may be sort of doing what excites you, but you may not be doing it in the most exciting way. Because the idea of following your passion requires every component of it to also be the most exciting way. So you can do a thing, but where you're doing it, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, with whom you're doing it, all have to be of that vibration, or you're not really following your passion. So you get to decide the way in which you're actually acting on your excitement. And isn't that an exciting thought?
It is actually.
All right. So just make sure that whatever it is you choose to do out of the options that you have, whether it's taking a walk or working out, you're doing it in the most exciting way as a whole system. All the components of it are being done in the most exciting way. And if you can't find that one of the components is the most exciting way you would prefer to do it, use your creative imagination to create your exciting way of doing it. Yes?
Yeah, I think that what you just said with the creative yeah, that actually helps a lot. I've never thought about it that way, that I
All
have
right.
the power to do that.
You do. You do. So
Mhm.
if that makes things more exciting, then you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Does this
Thank
help?
you. Yeah, that helped a lot. Yes, it really did.
All right. Does that serve you today?
Yes.
Then we thank you for your interaction. Aveo.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Of course, always. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Why would I have anything else?
Sorry?
Why would I choose anything else?
Oh, yeah, that's makes sense.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. So go
I see.
and
Yes.
don't choose what doesn't make sense.
I will. Thank you so much, Bashar.
It's up to you. Thank you. But it'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, we thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the opportunity for this transmission at this time. We will begin this transmission by reminding each and every one of you that it is titled Masks. We will be doing this part of the transmission in the beginning a little bit differently than we've ever done before. It will be a little unusual, but it will be for the purpose of more clearly illustrating the concept that we will be sharing with you today. So, Nania, you have something that you can bring up?
I do.
All right. Now, I would suggest, for the greatest impact, that all of you close your eyes. And I will tell you when to open them. So, eyes closed. You may open them. Now, we understand that for some of you, your first reaction may be, that's creepy. And that's all right. Because the idea of the masks is to understand something very important about the relationship between your higher mind and your physical mind. And that is that what you consider yourself to be as a person, when you look in the mirror, what you're seeing is a mask. You are projecting, you are channeling the idea of a portion of your consciousness into the experience of physical reality. You are always channeling, therefore, every single moment. And your physical face is a projection. It's a mask, it's a representation, it's a symbol of the idea that you call a physical experience. It's how you have focused your consciousness in such a way, in a space-time linear framework, to experience this idea you call physical reality. But we remind you that in a sense it is an artificial construct, a projection of consciousness. Therefore, from the higher mind's point of view, your physical face, your physical personality is truly just a mask. It's not really all that you are, but a very small portion of it, and a temporary portion of it, for the purpose of navigating in your physical reality. Therefore, the idea of this particular permission slip is to begin when you have the excitement to do so, to go out, find a mask that covers a majority of your face, similar to what you are seeing now. It can be any kind of a mask you wish it to be. We would suggest, however, that it be relatively plain, because the idea of this is to form a neutralization of what you typically see when you look in a mirror, so that you can really begin to start to relate to your face through this exercise as a projection, as a mask and not associate it with the idea of your personality in the way you think of yourselves typically on a day-to-day basis as a person. When you begin to neutralize the idea this way, you will begin to form a dissociation with your physical face a little bit in this exercise. And if at first it feels a little bit creepy, that's all right, because the first phase for some people will be to get in touch with the idea of whatever negative or fear-based beliefs may come up in doing this, because we understand that many times on your planet when people don masks, in your culture, for a variety of reasons, many people will assume that there's a nefarious reason for doing so, that you're hiding something that you don't want people to see. So some of that may come up at first, and that's all right. Just let it do so. Eventually, you will begin, as you stare in the mirror at the mask instead of your face, you will begin to relax and neutralize the idea of any negative connotations or associations. And you'll begin to dissociate from the idea of your face and begin to understand your personality as a mask, as a projection, that the higher mind sees it as such. And you can begin then by creating that dissociation, by creating a disfamiliarity. You can begin to see through the eyes of the mask more like the inner being, the higher being that you also actually are. Once you lose touch by doing this a few times, practicing it a few times, lose touch with the idea of what you're used to looking at in terms of the emotional expressions, the physical marks, the frame of your face, all of that, you'll begin to see through different eyes. You'll begin to, in a sense, feel like you're pulling back, dissociating, disconnecting, uncoupling from physical reality a little bit and a little bit more each time. Now, please understand, this is not about glossing anything over. It's not about denying your humanity. It's not about denying anything negative or fear-based beliefs that may come up. It's about truly acknowledging that they are there, but then allowing that to be part of you, and then allowing yourself to neutralize and relax about it and start to feel a little bit of this disconnection from physical reality, from the typical expressions you have, from the typical way you have of communicating with people, even without words, through minor facial expressions, attitudes, emotionality. This may take some getting used to, but that's all right. You will eventually, if you do it often enough, if you practice. And eventually you'll begin to start seeing things a bit differently, from another perspective. You'll start associating the idea of looking through the eyes of the mask with looking through your physical eyes as if it is a mask. And the more you can do this, the more you can start to form a basis, a foundation for starting to see things more in the way that your higher mind does, because your higher mind does relate to your physical persona as a mask. And the more you do that, your thoughts will be different, your perspective will be different, how you interact with physical reality will be different. You will start to blend and balance the idea of your physical mind and the higher mind in such a way that you can move through life as a more complete person. And then even when you take the mask off, you will remember that your face is still a mask, is still not everything that you are. Again, not to discount the beauty of it, but you will find yourself more blended, more balanced, being in the world but not of the world, and that knowing that the world is in you. More and more each time you do this. And when you finally allow yourself more opportunity to function closer to the frequency of the higher mind, then different inspirations, different thoughts, different ideas will come to you than may have been able to come to you when you associated more strongly with the idea of your physical face, your physical personality. You'll begin to truly begin to see things that heretofore were invisible to you, begin to see a broader picture, a bigger perspective from a higher position. You'll begin to understand how synchronicity works, by seeing through the eyes of the higher mind, through the eyes of the mask of your physical personality. This is a very, very fun permission slip, but also one that takes a little getting used to. You can feel a little disoriented at first when doing this, but that's all right. The more you practice, the more you'll get it, the more you'll feel the balancing act, and the more inspirations will come to you. And you may even grow to use this technique as a way of getting in touch with higher planes of existence, with other spirit realms, other consciousness levels, other beings in other dimensions. It can go that far. Again, you can keep your feet on the ground and yet form this creative and constructive, positive dissociation with your personality, with the physical plane, with the physical experience in a balanced way. And this will give you not only greater outer sight, but greater inner sight as well. How do you think we look? Oh, thank you. And so, this is, of course, not exact, but you understand it is somewhat a representation of how we actually look as a hybrid being. Our skin color is about this white. Our eyes, while similar to yours, have enlarged pupils that are this black. But you would see a little bit of the iris around it, more like what you are used to seeing as an eye. But the interesting thing here also, in this exercise, in this endeavor, in this presentation, is that you're also getting an opportunity a little bit to experience the idea of communicating with us physically. And so even though this is not entirely representative of how we really look, it is a close approximation of a symbol that allows us to come a little closer and allows you to come a little closer by remembering this experience and how this mask looks right now to open contact, to physical contact with us one day. Remember that there is only a small percentage of our energy coming through the channel, never more at this particular moment than 10%, although 15 is possible. But on the day when there is physical contact, there will be stages to this that will allow you to be approached in stages, in steps, at whatever rate, at whatever pace you are comfortable, and allow you more opportunity to integrate within yourself all those energies and all those beliefs that will allow you to take a step closer to us and a step closer to actual physical contact. So, this is a very, very early simulation of that experience. And therefore, take advantage of this by taking a moment to really look at the mask on the channel's face and understand. And again, of course, you never have to believe this. We are not forcing this. But if you're open to it, take this opportunity to understand. You are communicating with an extraterrestrial being right now. And by this mask, seeing a slightly closer representation of how it would appear in your physical reality. So take a moment to absorb this, to let it in. Let the feelings, the energies, the vibrational states run through you. Taste them, savor them, explore them, and let your imagine fill in the rest. And imagine that we are, in fact, sitting right in front of you, physically, having this conversation in what you would consider to be a normal fashion, a normal everyday thing, that you can interact with us in this way, in your reality that is no longer the reality you used to be in, but a new reality, a link, a bridge, a third reality, different than mine, different than yours, a meeting place in which we can exchange more deeply, more concretely, and which will give you more opportunities to see the probabilities that can issue from such meetings and the paths that open up to you that lead to the stars. So we thank you for this opportunity of allowing us to present this symbol to you, to give you an opportunity to understand how to come a little bit closer to us without freaking out. Does this help you? So find a mask, do the exercise if you wish, every day if you wish, see what happens, bit by bit, take your time, no rush, no hurry. When you feel a little disoriented, that's all right. Slow down, take a breath. You will start to feel the dissociation in time. Keep it balanced and allow yourself to let it be all right, to let yourself see through the eyes of the higher mind, knowing that this physical face is your mask, is your diving mask that allows you to see more clearly in physical reality and yet can open up new vistas to you by blending the physical eyes and the higher mind senses to create a new experience in a new world and a new reality for you. So we thank you. Nania,
Yes.
would you like to take back the mask?
Okay.
It's a test of your own sense of self-worth.
And this person is asking, how do I connect with my oversoul? And how do I know that I've been connected with my oversoul? And how can I ask my oversoul questions?
There is no way you can be disconnected from your oversoul because you're an extension of it. So you know you are connected if you simply understand how things work. Everything is one thing. Even if you create what appears to be a differentiation, an extension, a so-called separation, the word separation is only a separation of experience, of perspective. It's not literally a mechanical separation. There's no such thing. You can't be separated from existence. And the oversoul is part of existence, and so are you. So you are connected by the description and definition of how existence is structured, how it works, how it exists. How you can feel like there's communication coming through, again, is follow the formula and trust that the synchronicities that pop up in your life that you become more aware of are not only coming from the oversoul, but from the soul, from the higher mind, from spirit guides. But there is really no need to absolutely differentiate where it's coming from. In some senses, that can actually get in your way and prevent you from simply receiving the guidance, no matter where it's coming from. So it's not that important to always know where it's coming from. And if it is important, then something in the synchronicity will show you where it's coming from.
Okay. And do we exist independently when we pass, or do we get absorbed into the oversoul?
Everything exists simultaneously. And the idea is that if you allow your consciousness to rise to the level of the oversoul, you will experience yourself as the oversoul. Absorption doesn't mean you lose anything. It means you still retain the unique identity that you are and therefore experience things from that level. In the same way that as you became an adult, you didn't lose the experiences you experienced when you were a child. You don't necessarily consider yourself a child anymore, but it's not like the child experiences have disappeared, have gone away. You can still relate to them. You can still call upon them if you need to. You can still talk about them. It's just that you're not coming from that level anymore. So the child experiences, while on one hand you could say have been absorbed into your adulthood, it's not like the child is gone. It's still there. It's still a part of you. It still exists on its own right, and you can tap into it and you can call upon it. But the idea is that you're simply now coming from the adult level in the same way that you would now come from the oversoul level without losing the individual personality, because now that's part of the oversoul and it can call on it or refer to it or tap into it anytime it wishes. It's just that for the most part, you're now coming from the higher level as you.
And recently, this person has been reading The Law of One by Ra, and to their understanding, they reference the dimensional progressions that happen from second to eighth densities of vibration. How, if at all, does this reflect what you are speaking of in terms of the oversoul? Are they mirrored concepts, divergent ones, or something else?
It's just another way of expressing the same ideas. There are different levels of consciousness that exist on different density levels, different frequency levels, which is the same thing as saying density. And therefore, it's just another way of expressing a certain limited hierarchical way of looking at what is relevant for your particular reality. As we have said in a past transmission, the 9 levels of consciousness is sort of similar to the idea of what the law of one is talking about when it talks about 8 different density levels. So the idea is simply another way to frame that there are different frequencies that represent different levels of awareness, different experiences and expressions of consciousness. It's just another way of saying the same basic thing, but maybe with a little bit of emphasis on a certain direction because of perhaps the way the information needed to be delivered by that entity to the people that were listening to that entity, or the way a question was asked may require a slight differentiation in the way the information is delivered, but fundamentally it's the same concept.
Okay. This person was diagnosed with ALS and wonders when they die, will the formula still apply, or is it just for humans on Earth?
Aspects of the idea of the formula will still apply because you can still follow your passion even when you're a spirit. And in fact, in a sense, it becomes more self-evident that that's your nature to do so. So aspects of it will still apply, and you will understand that it applies in the way that is now relevant for you as a spirit. You don't necessarily have to do all of the formula in the same way you did it as a physical experiential being, but you will do your version of it as a spirit. Because it's not like you have to dig into belief systems anymore in the same way. All your belief systems are transparent and immediately apparent and relevant to you, but in a different kind of form of awareness. It's more about simply knowing yourself, knowing what is relevant for you. It's not that you have to dip into a subconscious or an unconscious to reveal belief systems anymore as a spirit, because everything is right there in front of your face, so to speak. So some aspects of the formula will be relevant for spirit, and some aspects are only relevant for your physical reality experience.
And where do innovative ideas come from?
All that is. But they filter down in different ways through different translations into the different levels of consciousness, of oversoul and soul and higher mind and so forth. As we have said, it's more about the idea as far as the physical perspective is concerned, that the higher mind conceives, so you could say that is the inspiration. After all, inspiration is referring to spirit, non-physical reality. So it is everywhere at once, but it filters through, it translates through the higher mind. Then the physical brain is the receiver, and then the physical mind is the perceiver. Now, that doesn't mean that the physical mind doesn't have its ability to receive it and act upon it creatively. It can certainly take what it receives and perceives in many creative directions. But the idea is that the physical mind is therefore, shall we say, manipulating and making malleable what it is that has been conceived by the higher mind and received by the brain, and it then is allowed by the physical mind to be perceived in whatever way the physical mind feels is its creative ability to arrange it in a way that works for what's relevant for the physical mind. So creativity exists on every level, and in some sense, inspiration exists on every level. But the overall very large generalized idea is that inspiration comes from the higher level down through to the physical level, which still has the ability to be inspired, to be creative in how it represents and how it expresses and how it acts upon what it has received from the higher mind.
Okay. You said in a recent transmission that all death is suicide because mostly we have already determined the window of our lifetime from spirit.
Yes.
Does this mean that people who commit suicide would have died anyway, around the same time, or from some other cause if they had made that particular choice? Or are the lifespans that are chosen in spirit actually cut short if someone chooses to commit suicide?
It depends upon the person, it depends upon the theme, and it depends upon the methodology in terms of the belief systems and energy states that surround what you perceive to be suicide. So there can be exceptions. In general, the way most suicides occur in your collective society is a cutting short of an agreement. Therefore, the individual, once in spirit, may realize that and may wish to continue the theme in some way, shape, or form, whether physically or non-physically, to complete the theme, to complete the agreement. Because it may have been made from the misunderstanding or lack of understanding that they had more choices than they thought they had to continue the life and finish out the agreements that they chose to begin with. So by cutting themselves short, they may continue in some way, shape, or form. But nevertheless, the idea of simply saying all death is suicide is a generalized recognition that in general, by letting it happen naturally, by letting it unfold naturally, you do generally allow a window of timing to occur. But it can be very specific or it can be very random, so to speak. So just as there have been individuals in your society that have said, I'm going to die precisely at 10:27 on Tuesday morning, and then they do, obviously they simply became aware of the fact that they had, for some reason, chosen to have a very specific range of time for their lifespan. Others may say, well, I'll choose to go out by some particular quick or slow methodology when it generally suits the idea that I have completed my theme, but there's no hurry to it. So maybe they will be taken out by what you typically call an accident or a disease or something along that line. Others may simply say, I'll have the general idea of having a randomly chosen death. It's like an analogy of your roulette wheel where they will allow the wheel to spin and they will allow the ball to go around and around and around. And there may be any number of ways that they could allow themselves to pass into spirit, but they will accept wherever the ball falls randomly by all the opportunities that spin past until it slows down and the ball finds its niche, and they will simply accept that as the proper timing for their death. However, in this lifetime, there is also a way to change your theme once one theme is finished, and you may extend the lifespan sometimes to be able to afford the opportunity to explore a different theme. Those kinds of choices are now available, but they are also most likely made to begin with in spirit, saying, all right, well, when I'm done with one theme, I'll hang around and see if I can receive another theme to explore and sort of get a 2-for-1 in a physical lifetime. There are any number of these kinds of choices that can be made from the spirit and even from the idea of the physical personality if it recognizes consciously that it is aware of what theme it has been exploring and is aware that there may be some benefit to exploring a different theme.